Hello, everybody, and welcome finally back to another panel video on Fellowship of Fans. It has been a little bit of a while since the end of season 2 of the Rings of Power, which, of course, took a little bit of a break to regroup and just to look at what other fantasy and television programs there are out there. And that's something that we're going to be looking to be doing again as we try to start to do in between seasons, between season 1 and 2, where we did have a bit of a look at House of the Dragon, which you can also check the full 8 episode reactions and discussion videos in the comments and description below. But now we are going to expand this even further, but we're going to start off more with a more of a one-off with The Legends of Vox Machina, which is also on Amazon Prime, and it is a show that's, if you're a fantasy fan, a D&D fan, just fan in general, you would definitely know or at least heard of this show. And of course, me and Strider here have watched it, and essentially it's a part of our new formatting of trying to branch out and discuss as many fantasy projects as possible, and also stuff that you guys want to see discussed and talked about as well, alongside Lord of the Rings of Power, The War of the Rohirrim, etc. So yes, a lot of exciting things to discuss and look forward to, and this is definitely one of those projects. And of course, joining me and who will be leading the discussion on this is Strider. Hello, my friend.
Hey. As Harry said, uh, it's we're going to try to do some more fun stuff besides the Lord of the Rings. Of course, there's going to be a lot of the Lord of the Rings things happening, especially with War of the Rohirrim. That's just a month away, just over 1 month away.
Yeah, crazy.
There's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of other things. Hopefully, with Hunt for Gollum movie. We'll hopefully be hearing some casting news soon and so on. So there's going to be plenty of Tolkien stuff to talk about still. We also released recently a video on the identity of the Dark Wizard and why it is probably one of the blues. So there's plenty of Tolkien going on. But yeah, we just want to go out and see what other fun, nerdy things we can cover. And we're looking for some comments and for ideas, proposals as well in the comments. And the first thing we are going to cover now, so it's been a couple of months since we were covering House of the Dragon. So soon we'll be doing Dune Prophecy. We'll maybe try to do Penguin. What else? There's this great animated show Arcane coming out in a couple of days. So a lot of really cool stuff going on. And the first thing we would like to talk about is this little show called The Legend of Vox Machina. So for those who don't know, this is a show that is an Amazon original. And what makes it very interesting is that this is an animated show based on a D&D or Dungeons and Dragons live stream show by a bunch of nerdy voice actors who 10 years ago became a very big thing and created this huge beloved a huge fan base of people who really love this show. And we are already in season 3. And fun fact, this show has become the most funded TV show / movie on Kickstarter. It just took all the records. They earned like, I don't know, 4 million euros or something, $4 million in like under 24 hours. It was really cool. And season 3. So let's start off by talking about maybe our D&D experience. Just real short overview. Harry, what's your background with D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and what did you know of Critical Role before starting this show? Did you know anything?
Well, of course, my age will always play a factor into this. The first actual time this is after I watched season 1 and 2 of Vox Machina. I watched the movie that came out recently, really liked it. The Dungeons and Dragons movie, and I thought that was a lot of fun. I'm sure, of course, people are really fans of D&D. I'm not sure how much that movie's liked.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
That's good.
I
Okay,
can, yeah.
that's good to hear. But beyond that, I know. I never really, of course, knew of D&D. I've always seen the references to it. For example, in Stranger Things, it was a big thing. But again, nothing that I've really, and also something I would love to get into. Is after watching this Critical Role, Legend of Vox Machina, and seeing the movie stuff, something I generally do want to try get into. It seems very interesting. I know a lot of my friends, Strider for one, for example, do play it and do really like it. So yeah, feel like I'm missing out a bit. But yep, so far the way I got into Vox Machina was again in between the wait between, I think it was season 1 and season 2 was January 2023. So when I watched season 1 and season 2, really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to what's to come. If there is going to be a season 4 or not, I'm not sure if there is, unless Stride has some magical news. I guess we'll have to wait for that. But no, generally, really enjoyed it, really loved it. Thought the third season was good, and excited to discuss it. And yeah, that's I guess my introduction.
Yeah. Well, as for me, I played D&D for a bit more than a decade, like 12, 13 years at this point. So quite some time, and I think that might be the reason why. And because I was lucky to be able to play it in person as well, so I actually had a hard time getting into watching Critical Role. So this live action D&D role playing show that this group of actors has been doing for like a decade now. I never really got full into it, but I really love the group of. I like the group. I watch all these videos, recaps, bloopers and stuff. They're just really a bunch of nerds who just have fun playing D&D, and we are all lucky to have it because it also led to this show. And that's, yeah, despite not having seen this actual D&D campaign, based on this, I still knew some things, but I basically didn't know enough to be anything more than a newbie watching this show. So I feel like season 1 and season 2 were pretty good. Season 1 was, I feel like, overall stronger. Season 2 kind of felt more traditionally D&D, where you're like going on like these little fetch quests where they were trying to find all these legendary magical items. So I feel like the second season felt kind of like Two Towers in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where it was kind of like between. It was like the middle of the story. Um, so it did kind of feel like that. So I feel like maybe season 1 was a bit stronger overall, but I had a lot of fun so far, to be honest, with both seasons, and then the third season so far. I think. Well, we can get into it, but maybe let's just have a quick comment, Harry. What did you think of season 1 and season 2 before we get into season 3?
Well, I absolutely loved season 1. I always genuinely, not genuinely, generally throughout many shows, I always enjoy the first season the most because it feels like that's the season which always does what it's doing best. And and a good example with this would be like The Mandalorian. I think season 1 of that was brilliant.
Indeed.
It's like its own self-contained story within a wider world, and that's what it felt like. Felt like, yeah, a group of heroes, small scaled, more intimate, more like there's a whole the world building happening because the whole world around them. Because I know the main villains at the time were the Briarwoods, so I think yeah, it felt like an approachable villain, and then yeah, with season 2, I still thought season 2 was good, but yeah, it was the stakes almost and the scale went from like 10 to like 100, with the Dragon Conclave.
Also,
Yeah, and I felt like I don't know. I Even though I did enjoy season 2, I felt like that jump so quickly just in like that was like a bit weird, but still genuinely, the characters going on their own paths to try and discover themselves, and also because there's a lot of discovering themselves even in season 3, and also to try and find the vestiges, which is of course a very key part, and seeing how that personally relates to them as well. I think overall it was decent, but still not, in my opinion, as good as season 1, where I felt like it felt more approachable, the whole story, but season 2 felt a bit more like, out there, but still did. It's nothing, I'm saying it's bad. I did still enjoy it. But as you said, Stride, I thought season 1 was the strongest one. But then yeah, that's my. Before I get into season three, I'll let you share what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of mentioned already. I feel like season one. You know what? If there's anybody who's maybe watching this um, before actually having seen the show, I heard some people kind of complaining in season one. There's a lot of like a bit of over the top sexual innuendos and fart
Mhm.
jokes and everything. And having played D&D for a long time, I know why it's there.
Yeah.
But I can understand that maybe that was not something that was everybody's cup of tea in season one. I feel like maybe there were some times when they kind of overdid it, perhaps. But still, overall, season one was really good. I think the maybe the actually before I go to that, and then the second season was really cool because it gave us these little it gave us backstories of all the characters. So that was cool, but kind of like the pace slowed down. It was a lot of these almost not connected, um, almost these disconnected stories, basically. So I feel
Mm.
like that's why the second season was kind of slower in a way.
Fair enough.
But the thing I think it's so easily missed, which makes sense because it's not something that we're used to. Um, the all the characters, so the main group of characters, this doesn't happen in a TV. This doesn't happen in shows or movies. Each of these characters was created by each of these actors playing them. So, when you watch a movie or a TV show, you have the showrunners, you have the people who write the scripts. If it's based on a book, it was created by a writer. And then at the very end, you get these actors who get cast into these roles, and then they have to make the characters their own. But I feel like the strongest, by far the strongest part of this show is the main cast of characters, because each of these characters was created by the actor voicing them. And that's what makes it so special. So I feel like there's a certain uniqueness and
That's cool. I
kind of
didn't know
like,
that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, like the intimacy within the group, because I mean it's D&D. This is based on a D&D story, and the way you play D&D is you have the dungeon master. He has the story. He knows what's happening in the world, but each of the players creates their own character however they want. In accordance with the dungeon master, but still, you create your own character, and
Yeah.
that's what really I feel like. Once you're aware of this, I feel like the show gets even better, because all the backstories, all the quirks, all the character quirks, the clothes, the signature words, moves, whatever they're doing, the weapons, the spells, that's all chosen by this one particular actor who plays that character. And I feel like that's like a really strong. That's the thing that really makes the show really strong in a very understated way. Because again, it's not something that happens. Like you always get a script and like, okay, here and take this character and make it your own. But here they made the characters. They didn't have to get cast. They are the characters. And yeah, I think that was pretty cool. And it was cool that season two gave us the chance to see these backstories. So yeah, okay. I think we can just go into season three. Harry, maybe tell us. Did you just binge it? I'm not sure where you're at. Like, so what was your viewing experience of season three? Maybe let's start with that.
I may have not have watched 9 episodes today. So yeah, I did watch the first three. Then time just caught up with me. So yeah, I just spent today binging it. Lucky the episodes are only 26 minutes long each, so that wasn't too bad. But no, but I in general love binging shows anyways. So I used to be someone who was excited to see episodes released weekly. Then funny enough, Rings of Power kind of like ruined that, thing. I preferred binge watching actually. So I felt like I still feel like I'm in this world. Going into this, I feel that's the best way to, be in that mindset as well. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed watching it all in one go. What about you?
Uh, I I was really excited about season three. Um, as I said, I really like D&D. I really like the feel of this show, and I like this group of people that are behind this. Even though I haven't seen their main stuff, I'm still a big fan of what they're doing for D&D. And for me, it was really cool to just be back in this world. I'm very happy that Amazon is being quite fast with the way they do these seasons. Like it's like basically 1 year, one per year, as it should be. And I was just following week to week, and I think also that was pretty good because they give you like 3 episodes per week, and then you can like spread them out if you want every couple of days until the next week and so on. So I did binge them because it was just a lot of fun. But yeah, um, okay. So how did you feel about this huge climax? Like as the story. So basically, season one had its own story, so it was against the Briarwoods. But
Ooh.
then in season two, it starts with the arrival of dragons, and then it just goes on and on these. It's like a 2 season arc basically, and this arc wrapped up in season three. So looking back, like how does this whole story arc does it work with you? Like if you put season two and season three together, what did you think of this whole um, this Dragon Conclave storyline?
I liked it, but at the same time, I think it got repetitive near the end and went on maybe a tad bit too long. But saying that, I think again, even though I said it was a big jump up from season one to season two, it did set the stakes really high. At times, I was thinking going throughout season two, how they're going to win this, how then they get past this. I think that's a good thing to make your audience feel like, okay, how are our heroes going to be able to save the day or get through this? So having legitimate fear and worry about, these characters and the situation they're in, I think the show really did establish that well with the Dragon Conclave. And of course, I know part of it was going to be, okay, they have to kill one dragon, then have to kill another dragon before they get, the ultimate boss. But I don't know. I think the weird thing for me was it just went on maybe a bit too long. I don't know how many times they faced off against Thordak in season three. It was like after you can make a dragon seem not killable, which is very very fair enough. But yeah, I feel like that went on maybe a bit too unless that is the point of D&D, where you're meant to face your villain again and again. If so, then I apologize, and that means they're doing their craft very well, and that means maybe that's one thing I need to accommodate to. But if not, then yeah, I feel like at times I did generally. I think the twist at the end of season two, having the dragon on their own team, was very interesting, and I think it gave a sense of gave the audience again to say, okay, this is maybe their way out. And I liked how throughout the season, whether they should trust her or not was a big point within the group. And it's definitely something, for example, Kaylee, she was of course always trying to warn the others, but that didn't end up being the case. And then they did end up betraying, which is I really liked. But yeah, so I feel like if that aspect of the storyline stayed the same, and we just had a bit less of fighting Thordak all the time, that would have been perfect for me. But again, still nothing I can really complain about. It got me watching, carrying on, wanted to binge it. So I do think it did do the storyline justice, but maybe it was a tad bit too long. Is where I'm at.
Mm,
What about
okay.
you?
I mean, uh, I can see where you're coming from because so it's not that the point in D&D is to meet a villain over and over again, but it's the beauty of D&D is that it's collaborative storytelling. You have the characters who interact with the world that is great, like represented by the dungeon master, and he throws a situation at the players, and then players have to deal with it and then the dungeon master has to react to whatever players do. And sometimes players hit a wall. Sometimes they bump into an obstacle that they're not sure how to deal with. Sometimes they bump into an enemy that they're not equipped to deal with, so they have to flee and then come back later. Because it's not a video game. It's a story, and no one can know how it will end.
Yeah.
At least not if at least usually you don't know how it's going to end. So that's the thing, and I feel like trying to put a D&D show completely faithfully on screen. First of all, it's not. I think it's not something you should try to do because it's not always going to work. Because again, as I said, like um, you can hit this metaphorical wall, and then for 2 episodes, there's nothing happening. You know, so that's kind of what might have felt once or twice in this season, and I can understand what you mean by that.
Hmm.
I think overall they managed to keep the pace going, but
Definitely.
I can see if someone felt like that, I could totally see why it was like that.
Yeah. No,
But I
and
have to,
no,
yeah,
I'm sorry, and even for me, no, that does make a lot of sense, and it's nothing that took me out of the story or like made me not want to watch. I did carry on watching because, again, the thing about D&D, it seems like the story arc is so almost it's unpredictable. It's compelling in that regard. So it was always you want to find out what's next. It did carry on that story. Being the storyline was interesting. Yeah, so yeah, it was nothing that took me out of it. Just one thing I had with that, which again, yeah, fair enough.
yeah. I think, as I said, I think I can understand why some people might not enjoy the pace throughout the whole time, throughout the whole show or throughout the whole season. But yeah, I think overall they did do a good job. It was fun, and again, I mean, I think the fact that I know that these characters were created by each of the actors playing them,
Yeah,
it probably enhanced my viewing. So maybe for you, season four, if there is a season four, which there might be, but it's not completely clear yet. Um, maybe it will make it even better for you because I
definitely.
feel like that's really the beauty of the show
Yeah, the
is
magic of
what
it.
makes it. Yeah, and that really does make it extremely unique because I guess there might be something somewhere that's along those lines, but just the fact that it was created by these people playing the characters, it just brings like this extra level of
Def-
verisimilitude, I guess. Yeah, but maybe let's chat about the characters before we go towards like the end of the season, and then maybe give our overall thoughts. But let's just chat about the characters. Um, yeah, like, do you have any favorites or characters that you maybe grew to love during season three, or any interesting thing you can say about, or if you want to just quickly comment on all of them? Maybe
no, not
let's
all.
just focus on maybe let's focus on the main party. We don't have to talk about their
Yeah.
fellow
So
NPCs.
yeah, one character I've always liked throughout the whole thing is Vax because he seemed like a stability character. So yeah, he's my character that throughout the whole 3 seasons always thought was great, no matter what story arc or story journey he's been on. And it was nice seeing that he's able to on one of the versions of Thor Dark able to deliver the final blow, and what that meant for his family arc, that's his destiny almost. So I did like that payoff for his character. But I think characters that really grew this season is Vex as well, Vexalia, because in my opinion, when you are normally like the leader or like the focal point, sometimes your character can either be really good or really boring. Like for example, and I stop going back to Rings of Power, but if you look at Gilgalad, like he's like the king, the leader of the company, like leader of them, very one-dimensional, boring character at the minute. And I felt like in season one and season two, it felt like she was more, there to be the lead of the group. But what more can we see behind them? In season three, absolutely went into her backstory and how her family affected, that her dad affected her own emotions and being able to not be able to open up, and that is why in season one, season two, she seems so stern, so closeted almost, and season three we just got to see that, and especially the relationship growing with Percy on the season was some of the strongest parts for me as well. So yeah, I did really enjoy that, and of course, characters like Scanlan, Grog, always going to enjoy them because even though they're comedic relief, it's still very funny. Even though I think in season three, some of Grog's jokes, it was funny like the first two seasons, or some of them. I know they're dumbing stuff down, but some of the jokes were like very dumb at some point. But no, I remember one or twice it did make me laugh. So yeah, I think that was an important thing. But but I think Percy again, he's always seemed like almost the not the outside of the group, like the rogue character, and we did find out in the backstory flashback that he did end up being, during the group last, they found him in that way, and like because everything with the bride was, even though he felt like he was he's part, everyone else beforehand were just part of the group, they had from the group. He was all in season one. He was a character from the group, but he also was connected via the storyline of the Briarwoods, and that being his, mantle, his people. And I felt like that those connections always had something extra to him, which I really liked. And I think in season three again, even though it's not fully focused on him, I think the relationship between him and Vex was like the one of, if not the main things there, alongside the whole dragon conclave stuff, and of course his almost rivalry with Ripley, which was another. Yeah, she was a really good character this season as well. So yeah, of course, Trinket and Pike, both other great characters. It's nothing flaws, but my highlights, despite Vax always being a strong character, I'd also say Vex, Percy, and yeah, those would be my two standout characters from this season, in my opinion. What about you?
All right. I like the overview. You kind of covered many things. I feel like as well. I think
Yeah.
for me, honestly, I think Vax might be my favorite character as well. I do well. Vax and Wax, both of them. I
Mm,
do like both of them because I think I always leaned more towards these ranger-like characters.
yeah,
Even though Vax is, I guess he's a rogue. I think he must be, he's some kind of a rogue for sure. Soul Knife maybe. I'm just trying to
they had that
reflect my
symbol in
D&D
episode
knowledge here.
10. I think that
What?
connected them. In episode 10, they had that symbol on his neck that the other scavenger was able to, as well connect with. So
Yeah,
it really
yeah,
stuck
right.
out. And by the way, talk about exactly the whole stealth, ranger type things. That part where Vex and Vax both go to try and find Ripley in that village was, very reminiscent. It even reminded me of Brie a bit. It was really cool.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I stopped comparing everything to Lord of the Rings as well. My apologies. Sorry,
I
go
mean, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
But yeah,
it did feel like this random small town slash village, except it was on the shore. So I guess
yeah,
that's one thing. That's the way it's different than Brie. But yeah, I like the two of them. I mean, I like him specifically, but I also like Rangers. Comes as no surprise given how
straight up.
much I like Strider. So there we go. Um, I liked him the most. I think Percy was really cool.
Definitely.
I think the fact he has the advantage that his backstory. This is what happens usually in these D&D stories when some character has when a player creates a story for their character that some of them just slot in so well with whatever the DM has planned, and then backstory of this one character can kind of take over, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing, obviously, as we see in season one. Like season one is a lot of fun, but it's in many ways it revolves around Percy's character, and I
Mm.
feel like that really gives him the edge over some of the other characters because he gets this whole story that goes on, even actually in a way, mainly in season one, but then you see through Ripley and through his sister and through Whitestone, their city, these things keep happening throughout the story. So I feel like Percy maybe has like this kind of like an advantage in a way. Like you see more of him, while some of the other characters have mm, maybe a bit less of a spotlight on them. So anyway, yeah, I think Percy and Vax are probably my two main characters, but I really like all of them. I feel like Scanlan's character arc was very interesting. The fact that he has a daughter, that was a pretty interesting twist. I did not see that coming when it was happening, but I feel like they did do something cool with it. And I mean, it comes to, as no surprise, like these people are professional actors and well, mainly voice actors, but still they're professional actors. So they have a really good grasp of how to tell a story, how to develop a character, and it's really cool that they managed to do it. I feel like of all the characters, Pike somehow might be the one that we see the least of. I feel like I would like to see more of her. I don't know. She has this really wonderful relationship with Grog, and it's
Yeah,
quite a wholesome little friendship.
it is.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I haven't seen enough of her. And then there's
So
Caleb, who is a really cool character. I feel like relatable in so many ways. Her anxiety, her desire, quest for purpose in life. I feel like she might be a low key the most relatable character in the group, just
I
because she
feel
has
like
all
her
these. Yeah,
her and Vax are like the two main characters of the show, in my opinion. Then Percy's like that supporting character behind. I know you didn't meant to have main characters, but if it was like storyline wise and progression wise, those two, literally the whole final battle, we had all these side, face offs, for example, Percy and Vex versus, Ripley. But I feel like this is clearly, she clearly is up there.
yeah. I think yeah, that's a really good point. I think she is growing into the leader of the group basically, and by the end of season three, Kaylit, she kind of does become the leader of the group, which is again, it's a very cool character arc. And finally she and Max kiss, and that's always a nice way to end the season. Um so yeah, I don't know, I just really like all of them. I mean, Grog is just this wholesome lunatic, uh played amazingly by Travis Willingham.
Yeah,
uh
definitely.
like actually I feel like one of the hardest things to play is a dumb character who is, but to play it in a way that he is interesting and useful despite being dumb. And I mean, Travis is
Like Drax.
so smart actually. Like I mean, I said I didn't see from start to finish any of the campaigns, but I saw a lot of them over the years. And his comedic timing, um, his talent for improvisation, like his talent to like kind of push the story forward while role playing a dumb character. It's just it's really impressive. So yeah, Grog is awesome. I mean, all of them are. So yeah, but let's just do a quick shout out as well to some of these NPCs. I mean, I keep calling them NPCs, but the friends and allies of Vox Machina. There's many of them, but well, the two on screen. Um, they they were the most important ones basically in this season. Uh, Allura and Kima, and I mean they just played really well by really experienced actors. I feel like it's the show really managed to give even these side characters a chance to shine, and I guess with the two of them, Gilmore is probably my
Mm-hmm.
other favorite. Um, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of these, like the support cast, basically? So yeah, Gilmore is this guy in the background that kind of has a crush on Vax.
He's always
I
been
think
very,
he might be my favorite. What did you think of just like these
yeah.
other like support cast, basically?
Mm-hmm, yeah. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, Gilmore's always been up there. Uh, I think Delilah as well. She's been, an interesting character because we've known her since season one, and her story linked to Percy, which is very interesting as well. Which is something, yeah, I feel like, yep, she was very good at also becoming, the heir. And yeah, I think as I mentioned earlier, Ripley, very, very good villain. The whole revenge arc having to, it's the typical, I'm trying to do good for the world. I'm trying to, solve everything is, almost like a Thanos like mindset.
Yeah,
I
actually.
feel like she was a very good supportive villain because, I think the one thing they thought you can't just have all your villains be dragons in a season because, again, you lose that relatability and the sense of scale. And I think having her there as well was a very good thing to have. So both of them as side characters were very good.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess that's just what happens when you have a bunch of really talented people who like what they do, what they're doing in such a well established world. I mean, again, like they've been playing in this world in their personal home games and then in public games for more than 10 years. So this world, they created this world. Matt Mercer, the DM, the dungeon master, and yeah, like he did most of the creating, but all of the players, all of the other characters contributed in some other way, and it's a just sorry, it's a really well fleshed out world, and it's cool to see there's like a lot of depth in it, and I mean, I guess just the fact that I play D&D and I know this backstory probably enhances my overall feeling because I know that there's when they mention this place, I know that there's like probably like a 20 pages somewhere in Matt Mercer's notes about this like one town or this one specific church or something. Like I just know that there is like a lot of lore, and then they just have to like give it like 2 3 sentences and that's it. But it just shows that this world is a pretty cool one. Um, okay, I think maybe we can move on to like the end of the season and what that means like for story going forward, and then just like maybe like overall impressions of and maybe like overall expectations, I guess, for the story. But let's talk about the big finish. So this is the final of the arc. They defeated Tordak, and Raishan betrays them. She takes Tordak's gigantic body of this epic ancient dragon, and she merges with him. So, and then we have this very climactic fight where Keelet basically carries the whole theme. And yeah, Harry, how did you enjoy the fight, and what do you think also? Talking of that, what do you also think of the animation and just the way like the fights flow, not just the final fight, but like all overall like the all these little fights and like magical encounters they have. There's a lot of action, but yeah, what do you think of it? How do they handle this?
Yeah, no, I think that's actually a very good question. Around, I'll start off with the fighting and animation. I think the actual character, a big thing about it. I know going up toward the Rohirrim, this is what I'm going to be thinking about as well. The character and fighting animations of singular characters is very important, and I think here it's been done very well. The animation with that, and at the same time, being told, of course, this is a Kickstarter. I didn't know that either. Some of the animations of the dragons at time I thought weren't really that great. Think that's probably budget reasons, but the actual fights. But the thing is, because the budget was used so well with the character fights, and the animations there with back and forth movements of the core group characters are on screen most of the time. It didn't take away from my experience. So I think there, in general, overall, it was very good. But sometimes, yeah, the dragons animation did look a bit, like the Merlin show from 2010, if anybody knows or has ever watched that one before. But yeah, no, overall, I did think it held its own. So I was overall pleased with that. I think Rayshawn, we all knew that this betrayal was going to happen at some point, and that Kalith was going to be right, but I didn't know when or at least how it would happen. And the idea that she would just take the form and merge with Thordak, because I did not cross my mind. And I'm now like, oh yeah, definitely it would make sense. And I think that was a really smart way to wrap it up. And at the same time with the final battle, I did like that Kalith got her moment. I did wish it was like more of the repetition of the season one finale, which was my favorite moment of the whole show so far. The final battle with the Briarwood, where they all just team together. That chemistry, energy. It felt like more was like Kayla's moment. Again, that's not a problem, but I feel like she got her moment almost when she fought and got the location. That I felt like that. Okay, she's reached it now. But of course, about to say showrunners, the writers and the actors thought they could go a level higher, which is fine. I just would have, thought it would have been cool having the whole gang, even though they were there. It wasn't just like that season one finale, but overall, still the actual, the actual death itself was very, very rewarding for the character and for Kenneth especially, and I think that's the main thing. It felt rewarding, and it felt like a whole season, yeah, building up to this, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And overall thoughts, I might as well go into as we're about to wrap up. Um, it was better than season two by far. I liked how it was more concentrated. I think the thing I really liked is that it kind of even made fun of itself in regards to like we can't go hunting vestiges forever because that's basically all season two and the first half of season three. But the vestiges they realized we need to get the plot forward a bit, and halfway through the season, when to focus on Ripley and then get the army together after the siege to fight Thordak. And I think overall, yep, I do think it was a big step up. I think it allowed its characters that not many had as their favorites in season one to really shine. For example, Vex, for example, Percy. Scanlan even had some character growth. He was the first one to say they were going to leave. And I'm excited as to where it's going to go. I can already predict probably we saw that, that skull figure at the end coming back. I'm not sure if people really noticed this. I know you mentioned, Strider, that you thought maybe in this season that was it Pike wasn't getting as much, of screen time or
Mhm.
a purpose than before. But as we left the hell part, and the guy that was in hell, the last things he said was, "Trust me, I've planted the seed in her mind. He it'll be there for when he returns." And I think that the he that Devil was talking about was that thing we saw the last shot of season three. So I think there's a connection between the two that maybe some people might have missed. And I think now season four might be Pike's big season. So that's what I'm now looking forward to. Yeah, because when they all left the hell after the gamble, and then he says to him, "Oh, kill the others, but keep her alive because
Yeah,
he is coming." I think that is, a nice build up of to what's to come. So that's why I feel like where the story's going in that direction. They're gonna all have to band back together again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that if it happens.
that's that's a good. Observation. I don't think I actually made the connection between those two. I think that's the benefit when you like, which I guess just binge it in one day. Because I was watching it like it's been I think at least like 2 weeks between the episodes in Hell and then
Yeah.
this final trio of episodes. So
Hmm.
yeah, I forgot about that. I know I remember the part he said, yeah, spare her, don't kill her, but I didn't know that was this actual connection. Yeah, I think it would be cool to see more of Pike. I think she had this whole thing with her deity happening,
Hmm.
but yeah, I guess we are yet to see where this is going.
I think
Um,
that build up's gonna be season 4 for her.
hmm. Yeah, I think they still haven't announced season four, but I think it did really well. I think actually this show overtook Rings of Power after a couple of weeks. I think season four shouldn't be in question. I think the show has been doing really well so far. I actually checked. It has 8.4 on IMDb, and it has 100% rating from the critics and 94% rating from the viewers on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's really ranked quite highly. Um, so
And
I think we're gonna
sorry
get
to
season four.
interrupt, Strider.
Yeah.
The lead it actually got renewed in October last month for season 4, so that's confirmed.
Oh wow! All right. Well,
Yeah.
I've been I've been sick in the last couple of weeks, so I guess I just missed that. Awesome.
It's
There we
coming
go.
out the second half of 2025.
Wonderful news. Thank you very much, Harry, for that.
No
I
worries.
should have probably checked that before
That's
that.
all
I
good.
just feel like I saw it recently that they were unsure. I guess maybe it was an old interview. I watched the interview with them and they were like, "Oh, we're not sure if it's coming back." No, no, no. But yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. So great news. Vox
Mhm.
Machina is coming back for season four. That's really cool. Well, anyway, I think we can wrap it up here. Overall, the show was it's just a lot of fun, a lot of good action, a lot of fun action, unique characters. Um, they tried to kind of like invert the some of the tropes and so on, and yeah, it was really a lot of fun to talk about Vox Machina, and it is always a lot of fun to talk about this with anyone, but especially here on the channel. So yeah, before we leave, Harry, do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to mention or something like that?
I think with that season 4 confirmation now, because I've just seen also the cast and crew did a YouTube video from the official page announcing season 4. I think definitely now it's going to, I hope it's going to be like, oh, some time has passed and then maybe a couple of years and it's going to be like, oh, what you predict is going to be the first few episodes is going to be getting the gang back together, traveling to different places. Then the evil comes back, and then they have to fight it. But I'm very excited. And I think, yeah, the show's going in a really good place. So, yep, very excited. What
Yeah,
about you?
same. I yeah, really looking forward to it. And just a quick shout out also to Lakitia, our friend. She's also a huge fan of the show. So who knows? Maybe we can review season four with her. But yeah, anyway, with this, we can close our. Well, it's not technically our first, but one of the first reviews of
And not our
other
last.
non-talking stuff on the channel. Definitely not the last one. Um, we'll be talking about Arcane, which is I think coming actually in like a couple of days from now. Dune Prophecy is coming out this month as well. Penguin is about to wrap up. So yeah, we want to go into Star Wars. We want to go into DC, Marvel, all this nerdy stuff. We want to do more of the Game of Thrones, of Westeros. Next year we have the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We'll be talking about that as well. Yeah, if there's any particular kind of I sorry, film or TV show that you all wanna see us talk about, shoot in the comments. We might as
Gladiator
well.
2.
There's a lot of nerdom going on, Fellowship of Fans. So we whatever you put out, we will probably would be interested in watching it. So yeah, Harry, thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for binging all this just so we
No.
can talk about it tonight.
No, definitely. I was
Yeah,
gonna watch anyway because I always love Fox back in. It was just lots of stuff to watch. 'Cause I still haven't finished The Boys or The Bear yet, so I'm so backlogged. But no, definitely this was a priority because I remember for a while thinking when's this going to come back for another season. I think it delivered. So yeah, very excited for the next one. No, thank you. I was really fun discussing this with you as well. It was a nice change.
yeah. And thanks to Kyle for creating the thumbnail for this video. And most importantly, thanks to everybody, however many of you there are, for tuning in to listen to this. Thanks for chatting with us. Yeah, tell us in the comments any ideas, any thoughts. Join our Discord. There's a lot of things to talk about. We're going to do so much of the Lord of the Rings as well in the
Yeah.
coming months, especially with the War of the Rohirrim. So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on. So, thank you. And until the next time, I'm out of here.